Welcome back to Tack Life. We're here in the office. I'm your host, Travis, as always. I do apologize so very much for not doing a final video on my 25 days of drunkenness and taking so long to get a video back out. I unfortunately was blessed with a cold, and that made me have to be quarantined for 2 weeks because, you know, there's no other sickness anymore in the world unless it's COVID. So I had to do that, but that's okay. You got to do what you got to do. I'm fortunate enough where I could get paid to be off during those 2 weeks, so that's nice. I hope that if you have to be, that it is the same for you, and that if you are sick, COVID or otherwise, I hope you recover quickly from that. So I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. I know we all were hoping 2021 would be a better year than 2020 was, and so far not looking great, but we will see. I have happy thoughts and hopes that it will be better and get better, because it's rough, but time will tell. We'll do our best. I'll do my best, y'all do your best, and we'll meet in the middle somewhere, I hope. But so using all this off time, once I started feeling better, I started tinkering around in my shed, doing projects, working on things. I replaced a sink faucet and some stuff like that I need to do around the house. And I really recommend you do the same, because it can get really stagnant just hanging around your house being quarantined if you don't have something to do. So it's a great time, if you feel up to it, to do things around the house and projects. Before we get into the two projects that I'm going to show you, I also did some more projects. We'll do other videos on that, by the way, in a couple days. But just to finish up the 25 days of drunkenness and the adult beer advent calendar, the last ones I had were this Backer German lager. It was good. This Saison Blonde, it was a good beer. The Kenru Blue Belgian White, it was not as good as a Shock Top Belgian White, but it was a good Belgian White. The O'Shea's Winter Ale, not as good as a Sam Adams Winter Lager, but it was good. I still stand by O'Shea's as the only IPAs that I've had that I liked. So if you want to try an IPA that's good, O'Shea's. Also, an O'Shea's Irish Stout. We all know stouts I could do without. Don't like them. Don't want them. Gross. That's it with that. Merry Christmas. But seriously, the things I've been working on, boom, this right here. If you're not familiar with what this is a war club. This is made out of wood, though it does look like bone, which I think is really cool, and couldn't ask for it to turn out better. War clubs, if you're not familiar, are traditional primitive style weapons. For the Native Americans here in North America, it was around 18th, 19th century. They were very commonplace. But tons of other tribal and primitive cultures have these and similar items to these, whether it be throwing sticks, rabbit sticks, just all kinds of variations of this stuff. And it's really cool. It's a very useful tool. 3 years ago, I dug this out of a mountain. This is the root ball of a tree, and this is the tree shaft. So you dig it up, and you debark it, get all the bark off with a knife. I had done the main debarking, and it was about this long, and let it sit for the past 2.5, 3 years, and just cure and get super hard. And then this past week, I took a knife and a machete and got all the rest of the imperfections and bark out of it that I could. And then I sanded it down with 60, 120, and then 220 grit sandpaper, and got it super smooth. And then to finish it off, I put boiled linseed oil on it. And if you never work with that stuff, it's great stuff, helps waterproof it, and smells like olive oil kind of. It's great stuff. And I did a combination between a ball-headed war club and a gun stock war club. And a gun stock war club is thinner, and it's shaped like a gun stock, and sometimes has a spike on the end for throwing. And the ball-headed war club is as it sounds. It's a ball, sometimes has a spike on it. And some cultures use them for throwing at charging animals to disperse them. Some of them use them for hunting, and as the name implies, some of them use them for war. So obviously less common nowadays, but always thought primitive weaponry was really cool growing up, and I always wanted to make one, so I'm super happy how it turned out, and then I got to make one. I just love all the little blemishes you can see from my knife and stuff like that. Just super happy. I leave it by the door because you just never know who's at your door. So I just so happy with it. And the other thing I made, been wanting to make for a while, a buddy of mine made one. I've seen him on the internet for a couple years. Thought they would be so cool. They're a great gift idea, or just for yourself if you or someone you know is a police officer, a security officer, or just a prepper that likes to have like heavy vest and duty belts and stuff like that, they're called gear caddies, is what you can find them on the internet as. And the internet's never wrong, so it's a gear caddy. This is what it is. I pulled it out. It usually sits here next to my fridge, but this is it here. It's a stand with a top, obviously, as you can see. Got a gun case screwed onto it, and then everything that I carry on the daily at work, and then my radio charging station with my flashlights charging. And then down here, as you come down, attached to this 4x4, which is not a 4x4, it's a 2x4 I made into a 4x4. We'll get into that. You have your duty belt hanging here and your vest hanging here. And then on the bottom is a stand. I call this a pinwheel stand. I don't know what you call it. It's just 2x4 screwed into it. And then I have the floor protectors for like furniture underneath it, so it doesn't scratch up my hardwoods. But I use scrap stuff that I had laying around. So I didn't have a 4x4, I had 2x4s laying around. So I glued and screwed 2x4s to make a 4x4, and then wood filled it, sanded everything, and painted everything. These are 3/8 inch rigid threaded pipes with caps and the mounting bracket. So that one is, I believe, 6 inches long, perfect size for both of my belts, my duty belt and my underbelt. And then this one is a 4-inch one with two 6-inch ones coming off this T, and that holds the vest perfectly. I tried just one long 12-inch and it came out way past the edge of this, and it looks stupid and didn't work well. So don't try to cut corners and do that like me. Do it right the first time. I also spray painted them black. And this was leftover wood stock from leftover wood stock from when I did my chicken coop build, and this is an old shelf as the base. And then the most expensive part for me was just buying this. This was like 40-50 bucks because I recycled everything else except for the 3/8 bars and stuff like that I did buy, but that's like 20 bucks or so, 20-30 bucks of material. And then some people will actually, on the back side for their charging station, they'll mount a power strip back here. I haven't done that. I just have mine plugged in at the wall. But these are really great. You can just come home. Mine has a combination and the key lock. Put your gun away, secure it, put all your stuff where you know it is every day instead of having to go in here to the closet and shove it up on the shelf or whatever you do every day. It's nice to have a designated spot for your stuff. It looks nice, just keeps everything organized and clean, and helps secure your weapon, because nobody wants to have to, open a whole gun cabinet every morning to get their gun out and all that kind of stuff. So really like it, really happy with it. Please, 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 if you know anyone who might love one of these, or you yourself might want one, just go ahead and do it. It's fun to build. It's easy to build. You can put it all together in probably 2 hours, though the painting and sanding, that stuff takes longer, but just the general cutting and putting together, 2 hours max. Like, it's not hard. So that's what I've been doing. The other things I've been doing, I'll show in another video, like I said, but that's been it. So please do like me, make use of your time if you have to be quarantined. I hope you don't, but if you do, you might as well do something useful with it, especially if you aren't showing any symptoms or you're feeling better, something like that. But everyone, I hope you're staying safe. Be good to yourselves and to others. And please come back for the next videos. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. We do appreciate it here. And thank you so much.